Well, I'm currently in Oso, headed out towards the North Cascade Highway to go and try and stay at a free campground. This is going to be the first attempt at it. I also brought a little bit of money in case I have to grab a campground at the last minute. So hopefully I don't have to do that, but we'll see how this goes. So one interesting thing about the area here at Oso is that I think it was about 5 years ago, maybe, I can't remember exactly. There was a major mudslide, a giant landslide that completely covered just tons of farms and areas out here. Apparently had something to do with some poor forest management, and basically half of the hill just slid down and covered the valley here. So I'm on the edge of the highway here, and you can see actually the results of this landslide. This was a really devastating event for the area. About 43 people died, and they spent a long time out there digging through the mud trying to locate any survivors and the remains of the people that were trapped. It was a really major event, one of the largest mudslides in U.S. history, and I remember President Obama flying over and taking a look at the site. What's left now is an extremely eerie landscape, but it is recovering vegetation at least, and they have built a memorial and a small little park so people remember what happened here. Well, I'm back on the road again and heading up towards Darrington. So this is a small town. I think I mentioned it in my video about Rockport when I was up there, and it's a pretty cool area. There's a lot of hiking trails, a lot of campgrounds out here, although almost all of them are closed right now. But there are a few free ones that you can stay at, and I probably won't be going that direction because you start getting off road, or at least onto dirt roads, and my car is not good at that. So I don't want to endanger my car any more than I do on a daily basis. Well, one thing that has been getting increasingly difficult to do is find places to refill my water. And I should have done it at the campground before I left. A lot of the state parks have winter water stations. I didn't fill up my water there. So now I'm on the search for a place with water that will actually let me fill up my water tank. So we'll see where I end up. Right now I'm at the park I was at last week in Rockport. I don't know what the name of the park is, but it's just along the river here. And as far as I can tell so far, I haven't found any sort of water refilling station. Usually there's water somewhere near the dump station, so I found that, and there's no water here. Well, I just tried Rockport State Park, and they also don't have any water right now. I think the bathroom might have some water, but I'd rather take the 10-mile drive down to a park that I know does have winter water supply. Well, I'm back here at good old Racer State Park. It's about lunchtime anyway, so I'm just gonna eat some lunch. And you should see the interesting winter water situation they have here. It's attached to the dump station, and I haven't seen anything like this in other places I've stayed. Maybe this is a common thing, but most of the other parks around here at least don't have it. The way it works is you press the big red button and put your water container under it, and it runs the water for 45 seconds. I think it's pumping the water out from this vault that's kind of underneath the ground. Well, I made it to the campground early. Looks like the campground's a little bit on the rough side, mostly just because I don't think anyone's been here in a while. So a lot of the campsites that are under trees have branches down in the middle of them. The road is covered in leaves and stuff, but it's not a big deal. I know the weather's going to be good tonight and tomorrow, even up here. So I'm not too worried, and I made sure I chose a campground that wasn't under any trees, and it's in no danger of getting hit by any trees. So we should be good here, I think. So let me show you around a little bit. Well, after walking around the campsites, I decided to change campsites to this lovely one here. It has a much better view, and it should be equally protected from any stray limbs. I just woke up after my first night at the free campground. Nothing too exciting happened. I didn't see anyone else in the entire area. No cars went by or anything. I've stayed at free campgrounds in the past, but it was always during the summer. So it's kind of interesting staying here in the winter. Just super quiet. I'm going to make some breakfast and we'll see what there is to explore after that. So one thing I wanted to talk about as well is my stove fuel. So I think I mentioned in past videos I've had problems with my Coleman butane fuel canisters just not working down below about 40 degrees. They start, you can use them a little bit when it's completely full, but you just can't empty out the containers. Once it gets down below like half a container of fuel, they just stop working basically. So I decided to try a different solution and see if it works. And so far it has. As you can see, I actually have flame on my stove and it's actually warming up my food. So here are the two different containers. As you can see, the dimensions of the containers themselves are identical. This is a just standard Coleman butane fuel container that I had been using until it basically stopped working. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's still fuel in there. I just can't get it out until it warms up. This is a Covia butane propane gas mix, and so it's a lot higher performance and it puts out a lot more heat. But more importantly to me, it actually works when it's down below 40 degrees. So I think you can get these on Amazon, but I got these actually at REI and they were actually less expensive than the Coleman butane fuel. I think I ended up paying something like $2 a canister, and so far they've lasted a lot longer just because they put out so much more heat. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. It's just above freezing right now, and I did just pull those fuel canisters out of the car. I've definitely used those fuel canisters down to colder temperatures than the Coleman ones, but we're just at about 34 degrees, maybe a little bit colder. It's above freezing, but not much. And the flame on on my stove is down to a bare minimum again. It's kind of warming the food, but not really, so I'm a little disappointed. But still, I mean, it's a lot better performance than the other canisters that I normally get, so yeah. Well, I made it to the end of the road. They closed the road this time of year up over Washington Pass behind me there because of significant avalanche dangers. It's my understanding this is one of the most expensive roads to maintain in Washington State. They do it mostly because of the Seattle City power comes from this area, so they need the roads open for the dams. But yeah, Washington Pass that goes over to the east side of the Cascades, that always closes early. It's also the highest pass in the Cascades in Washington. I'm gonna head back the other direction and see if I can find some easier trails that I can go hiking on. I'm not gonna do anything too steep or anything today because I am working 5-10-hour shifts this week as a delivery driver, and it will probably be even more than 10 hours a day. And so I kind of need to save my strength for that. But we'll see what I can find. That's cool. So I think what I'm probably going to do is we're right here right now, and I'm going to go down the trail which goes to all the other trails. and then probably head down the Happy Panther Trail here. I don't know how far I'll go on it. Probably not the entire way, and definitely not all the way over here or up here somewhere. But I'll just do a nice quick hike just down here. It looks like the trail's about 5 miles long plus 1 mile to get there, so 6 miles at most. So I think it's a good place to start. You know, one of these days I'll be able to afford proper hiking equipment, and especially something like a locator beacon or something, so that I am not just wandering around out in the middle of the forest by myself like this. But it's beautiful out here, and I've been out walking for like an hour and a half, something like that. So I'm gonna head back up to the car. It's uphill that direction, so it might take me a little bit longer. I'll probably go about 5 miles total, not do the entire 5 miles each way, so. It is amazing just how quiet it is out here, though. While I was walking along near the dam, there was a stream and a waterfall that was causing a bit of noise. Now I'm out here, there's just this little bird behind me tweeting. That's about it. Well, it was a fun hike, not too strenuous or anything. So now it's time to go make some lunch. I think I'll stop by a campground on the way back, one of the free ones, and just put together a lunch there. And then I'll continue back on Highway 20 towards Mount Vernon. Well, I'm down here at Gorge Lake Campground. It was the other free campground. The reason why I didn't stay here last night was because it was supposed to be a bit colder up here, and it was also just a little bit further. And I knew I was going to get in after dark, so, or at least around dark. But this is a great place to stop off and eat lunch. And see, now that we're back up to about 38 degrees, my stove fuel is working much better again. I also noticed that it's a good thing I didn't try to spend the night up here, because there's no internet up here, no cell phone signal at all. And I do a lot of my video editing at night, which you don't really need a cell phone signal for, but I do a lot of uploading, a lot of going through the analytics and stuff. I do that in the night, in the evening. So that's kind of important to me right now. So I keep talking about Diablo, but I haven't actually been here since about 2004, so I just crossed the bridge into Diablo and looked at, there's like 6 houses here, all Seattle City Light employees. There might be like a fire marshal or something that lives out here, but yeah, it's just Seattle City Light employees. In case you were wondering if the workers get stuck here when it floods, yes they do. So it's after dark now, and I finally made it to the campground. Had some good things happen. The dealer where I take this car actually wants to buy it, and because I'm underwater on the car, it might actually be to my advantage to go through the dealer, because they might be able to get me a good deal on actually selling it. We'll see. I'll hear them out anyways, hear what they have to say. The bus has an appointment with the mechanic, and so I'll be heading down to Puyallup next week, and it's going to be a bit of an adventure walking around on the side of the road, just because my car, the shop and the bus are close enough together that I can walk it in about an hour. But there's actually a train station in between the two, so I think I can park my car at the train station and then walk to the bus, take it to the shop, and then walk from the shop to the train station. It's going to be a crazy adventure, so look forward to seeing that next week. It sounds like the problems with the bus, the shop didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. So I didn't think it would be, but still it's kind of good to hear. But exactly what they think is not big of a deal, and my budget, it's hard to know. It could be that I leave it there for a week or something. I don't really know at this point, because I don't entirely know what's wrong with it, and I don't know what it's going to take to fix it. So next week's going to be a bit of an adventure, and it's going to be a lot of driving around and a lot of just walking around Puyallup. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this video. Remember to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you on the next one.